is okay. Okay, so we're gonna get something going in the air fryer while I'll make the rest of this and start talking. So for tonight's recipe, we're gonna have to make some bacon. Darn the luck. Well, I had turkey bacon still in the refrigerator that needed to be used. So this is 4 slices of turkey bacon. You can use regular bacon, you can use smart bacon. Smart bacon is it's veggie bacon, so you can use any brand of veggie bacon. It works well with this too. If it's veggie bacon, you're just going to need to adjust your time in the air fryer because it does not need to cook as long as real meat bacon. But this is 4 slices of turkey bacon, again, because I already had them in the refrigerator and needed to use them. And this is my recipe, Candied Bacon. So if you want to go to IfYouHaveAnEgg.com, you can go ahead and look up the Candied Bacon recipe, but it's bacon, any kind of bacon, and sugar-free syrup, Red Mountain rub, which if you can use whatever spice you want to, or you don't have to use any, but I'm telling you, if you ever use Red Mountain rub on bacon, you'll never go back. Even veggie bacon, you will never, ever go back. So you really need this for the candied bacon. And we have this here at Casey Kitchen Center, or you can go on IfYouHaveAnEgg.com and find it. And then just a little bit of Truvia or your favorite low calorie, kind of sweetener. And we're going to go ahead and put this in the air fryer. I have a Simple Living Products air fryer. And we're just going to go ahead. This has been soaking in the sugar-free, the sugar-free syrup and the Red Mountain rub over in the refrigerator for about the last hour. And this is going to make candied bacon. So this is the first thing that we're going to need for tonight, and it will make more sense here in just a second when I explain this. So I want this to be as crisp as it can be, and turkey bacon doesn't crisp up as well as the pork bacon. Oh, and Vicki says, "Are you sick, Kelly?" This is East Tennessee crud. So if you've never watched me in the spring, I'm gonna sound like this until everything stops blooming here in Knoxville. Yeah. So, and it doesn't matter, no amount of Zyrtec, Claritin, nasal spray, anything else, no amount of that is gonna stop this. So anyway, so I'm gonna let this cook extra long. So normally for the bacon, I would do 380 for about 8 to 10 minutes, just depending. Oh, and John says, "Wow, that looks good." Well, good, because I'm bringing some of it home. But I would normally do about 380 for 8 to 10 minutes, but I want this to be as crisp as it can be. And again, the turkey bacon's never gonna be as crisp as pork bacon. It's just not. Believe it or not, the veggie bacon crisps up pretty well. So I'm gonna put this in on 380 for about 12 minutes, and I'm gonna check it. And remember, on the Simple Living Products air fryer, scoop, in case you're new, scoop, don't shove it in there. And then you push this center button, change the temperature to 380, that's that button. Change the time to about 12 minutes, and then push that center button. Okay, so what we are gonna make is, and he probably is because he's not been with me for hours, Lynn. Lynn's wanting to know if John is hungry. So what we're going to make is my recipe, hot bacon. It's hot bacon broccoli slaw. So hot bacon broccoli slaw is just a regular recipe. It's just a normal recipe that we have. We take it to like family reunions and church things and stuff like that. Which, by the way, I made our cornbread dressing. Bye, Alicia. I made Alicia's got to run for dinner, so I made the cornbread salad, which isn't a salad at all. But anyway, I made the cornbread salad for our Sunday school lunch today. And when we brought it home, I think there was 1 spoonful left. And the 1 spoonful, I think that was just somebody being polite because they were like, "Gosh, I can't scrape the bottom of the bowl," or whatever. But it was good, and I've already got a couple of text messages that it was good. That's already on IfYouHaveAnEgg.com if you want us to check that out. So anyway, so we're going to make just my normal hot bacon broccoli slaw. And I just want y'all to notice while I'm talking, the air fryer's going, and you can barely hear it. So if you don't have an air fryer yet, I still seriously highly recommend the Simple Living Products one, because you can't hear it. I can hear the air conditioner louder than the air fryer. Okay, anyway, hot bacon broccolis hit something down the road or what's going on. And yes, I know because I can see that I was frozen too, but I'm pretty sure it was still recording, so I'm just going to keep talking. So this is supposed to be for the meal so remember we were going to pick one meal this week where we were going to make sure that it had plenty of protein, try to make sure that it had calcium and also vitamin D. And I'm just laughing because you all are telling me that I'm frozen. There's literally nothing I can do about that. So I just think it's funny. I think it's hilarious. I'm not fussing at you all. I think it's hilarious that you all are letting me know that the live feed was interrupted because, there's nothing I can do about that, right? And it's funny that I'm still getting the notification. So Deborah says, what's going on? Deborah, that means that there was a hiccup in the internet and there's nothing I can do about that. I'm standing here talking, hands are free, can't do it. There's nothing I can do about it. Okay. So anyway, the one meal that's going to have extra protein, calcium, and vitamin D. So that's what we're shooting for. So I decided that it was going to be the hot bacon broccoli slaw, and then I was going to try and build something about that. So I was going to try and build something around that. So I'm starting with broccoli, and sometimes for the hot bacon broccoli slaw, I'll do just broccoli slaw, and sometimes I'll just do bacon. And this time they had the prettiest bags of already chopped up, or mostly chopped up broccoli at the Food City across the street. So I went ahead and got one of those. So I have broccoli, just regular broccoli florets that I've chopped up. And I'm going to add a bag of cheddar broccoli slaw. There is absolutely nothing wrong with using cheddar broccoli slaw. It's totally okay. You can use that. And there are plenty of times that I use cheddar broccoli slaw. So let me go ahead and get that open. So I'm going to put this in here, but for this recipe, you're going to want at least 3 cups. So there is no problem with me having 3 cups for this. Absolutely no fear. Like, this is probably about 4 cups, and you're going to have clean hands if you're going to be tossing this with your hands like I am. So this is at least 4 cups of broccoli. So broccoli, believe it or not, has protein and calcium. Broccoli is one vegetable. Now, it's not a lot. It's not a lot because this is not meat or beans or tofu or something like that. But broccoli does have, I believe it's the vegetable that has the highest amount of protein. So that's why I wanted to start with broccoli, because it has protein and it also has calcium. And then to this, I'm going to add a cup. This is about a cup of Velveeta shreds. You can use real cheese if you want to. I use Velveeta shreds because it helps to keep the points down. For this whole thing, when we get done, the recipe is on IfYouHaveAnEgg.com. For this whole thing, it's going to be 3 points per serving. So it doesn't matter if you're blue, green, or purple. It's going to be about 3 points per serving. So that's why I use the Velveeta shreds. And also the Velveeta shreds have protein and calcium. So my first 2 ingredients have the protein and they have the calcium taken care of. Okay, so that was about 3 cups of broccoli or broccoli slaw, which I have a little bit more than that in here because I got a little excited on the broccoli and the broccoli slaw mix. Then I added about a cup of Velveeta cheddar shreds. The cheddar, you can use the Velveeta regular shreds, but the cheddar is better. Cheddar is better in this recipe. And again, both of those have protein and calcium. Then we are going to take, this is about a half a cup of plain non-fat Greek yogurt. So several of you all said, when I said, hey, name something that's going to have a lot of protein in it. Several of you all said plain non-fat Greek yogurt, or just, Greek yogurt in particular. So this is about a half of a cup. This is a generous half of a cup, since I had so much broccoli, of plain non-fat Greek yogurt, and about an 1/8 of a cup of light mayonnaise. So a normal broccoli slaw recipe would be a ton. It would be a ton of mayonnaise. And the non-fat plain Greek yogurt does an excellent job of making it feel like it's full of mayonnaise, but it's not really. So it's going to be just as creamy as mayonnaise. This is going to turn out, just as creamy. It's going to be really good. So we're going to get that all good and mixed in. Again, that's a generous half of a cup of non-fat plain Greek yogurt just because of the amount of broccoli that I have. And about an eighth of a cup of light mayonnaise. You can use fat-free mayonnaise if you want to. Then the magic part of the dressing for this is going to be 2 teaspoons. And let me find my teaspoon here. 2 teaspoons of, again, this Truvia baking blend, or whatever your favorite low-cal sweetener is. I have not tried this with monk fruit. So for you monk fruit girls, and I don't know why I'm holding this at such a weird angle. That does not feel normal. Okay, so you monk fruit girls, I have not tried it with monk fruit. I don't know. Truvia is my jam on this, so I'll just keep using it. So it's 2 teaspoons of Truvia baking blend. And then this is mine and Casey's favorite part. So I know Casey's not here tonight because her and Alyssa are exhausted. Casey and Alan spent the weekend in Gatlinburg, and so Alyssa spent Friday night with her other grandparents, and then she spent Saturday night with John and I, went to a birthday party, and then this morning she went to church. Then she came here and played for a little while. Anyway, she's done a lot this weekend because the other grandparents had her, I don't know, some other church function, so she's done a lot. So I think her and Casey have crashed. But anyway, this is mine and Casey's favorite part of this. This is, the recipe calls for 1 tablespoon of red wine vinegar. Red wine vinegar has, and I'll just go ahead and admit, it has 0 calories, but it also has 0 fat, 0 sodium, 0 carbohydrates, 0 protein, not a significant source of cholesterol, dietary fiber, total sugar, added sugar, vitamin D, calcium, iron, or potassium. So it's nothing. It's basically red air. Vinegar, I guess, has none of these properties in it. But the recipe calls for 1 tablespoon. If you only want 1 tablespoon of red wine vinegar in your dressing, the dressing that you're making for your hot bacon broccoli slaw, you go for it. But Casey and I love it so much. I'm going to add another tablespoon and a half. Ooh. Okay, I'm only doing that because Casey and I love it so much. We love the red wine vinegar so much. But the recipe, and again, the recipe is on IfYouHaveAnEgg.com. The recipe only calls for 1 tablespoon. So please try it with 1 tablespoon first before you add more, because it's a lot. So 2.5 tablespoons is a lot. It's a lot of red wine vinegar. Okay, and I should have brought my little whisk. Sorry about this. Sorry I'm making so much noise. I'm making more noise than the air fryer is. Okay, so we'll get that all good and mixed together. And then again, because this is going to have to go onto so much broccoli, I'm going to add just a little bit of water to thin it out, just a little bit more. And you don't want this to be a thick dressing. So, I mean, so many times we go to like potlucks at, at church or at a family function or something, now that we can do that again, because let me just digress and say that Knox County has lifted its mask mandate. So if you come to see me, we do not have to wear masks anymore, but we are still wearing masks in the Casey Kitchen Center showroom. So here at Casey Kitchen Center, where I work, we are still wearing masks, but they've lifted the mask mandate. They've lifted the restrictions on how many people you can have at an event and a party and whatever. So I'm thinking potlucks, like we had one at Sunday school this morning. We're still scattered out a little bit, but almost everybody in our Sunday school class is vaccinated now, so that was good. But I'm thinking potlucks. I'm thinking family reunions, get-togethers. I'm thinking that everything is going to get is going to be back to normal. Is going to be back to normal soon. Okay, let's check the bacon real quick. Okay, I'm going to let it go for just another couple of minutes because remember, I want it to be as crispy as it can be. And this is turkey. This is turkey bacon. So it's never going to be as crisp. It's never, ever, ever going to be as crisp as the pork bacon. But I'm going to let it go for just another couple of minutes. Remember, scoop, don't shove. 380. I'm literally going to let go for about 4 more minutes. Anyway, I am thinking that this is going to be back to visitation time. Okay, quickly before I pour the dressing on there, I'm just going to toss this together. So we have this is probably 4 cups of broccoli slaw and chopped broccoli. You can use just the broccoli slaw. You don't have to use the broccoli, but it was so pretty I got some today. About a cup of cheddar Velveeta shreds are best. And then the dressing we made with about a half a cup of plain non-fat Greek yogurt, about 1/8 of a cup of light mayonnaise. You can use fat-free mayonnaise, some red wine vinegar, a little bit of water, a little bit of Truvia baking blend. So we're going to get that poured on there. I added a little bit of water so that it would go farther since there's so much broccoli in here. And I'm hoping after the internet trouble that everybody can see me okay. So y'all let me know. Because it looked like Lisa's was cutting in and out again. Okay. So we're going to get that on there. And then I promise this does have something to do. This does have something to do with the protein, calcium, and vitamin D that we were talking about. Okay, so to that, I'm going to add about 1/8 of a cup of reduced sugar dried cranberries. So if you can find this kind, thank you, Katie. So if you can find this kind, and thank you, Myrna, then get it because they taste just like regular craisins. I mean, I literally can't tell a difference at all. And they're reduced sugar craisins. So they're dried cranberries, and they're 50% less sugar. So these are an excellent source of fiber. Shockingly, not a great source of calcium. So I expected this to say, not calcium. I mean, I don't know what I expected it to be, but it doesn't have, it's no calcium, no vitamin D. I don't know. I was a little bit disappointed about that, but it's delicious in this salad. So this is about 1/8 of a cup of dried cranberries. You can add more if you have extra points. So we've been talking about smart swaps here lately, and Carol Lou, not much. So Carol wants to know, if you skip the cranberries, does it lower the points? Not a whole lot, because the cranberries don't add that much to it. I mean, it might go from 3 to 2, but that's exactly what I started to say is when we were, and Barbara said her church took the ropes off the pews to separate for social distancing. That's so exciting. It's so exciting to be getting back a little bit to normal. That's what I was going to say about the smart swaps, is adding this much more broccoli. You can see that it's still, and putting a little bit, so I swapped out. So one of my smart swaps was the extra broccoli. Another smart swap was to add that little bit of water so that the dressing is going to go further. So if you wanted more cranberries, you could add a few more. I was just getting ready to say sunflower seeds. Katie likes to add sunflower seeds to hers. I do too. So for this smart swap, you could maybe leave out the cranberries, the dried cranberries, and then add the sunflower seeds or something like that. That would be a great smart swap. And if you don't know what I'm talking about with a smart swap, you're going to have to go back and watch the last couple of weeks, because we have to talk about how I'm going to make this into, and Carol, I'm not sure, I'll have to look up how many. Oh, it's 6 servings. It's 6 servings, sorry. Okay. Ooh, that bacon is sounding good. Okay, we're going to let that cool off a little bit so it doesn't burn me when I try to chop that up. Okay, so now we're going to talk about how I'm going to use this to use this as the meal that's going to have the most protein, the most vitamin D, and the most calcium. Because remember, we're trying to get a combo on the calcium and the vitamin D so that they can work together and they can help us get stronger. Okay, so the broccoli has protein and calcium. The bacon has protein. The Velveeta cheddar shreds have protein and calcium. The non-fat plain Greek yogurt has protein. Okay, none of the rest of what I put in here has anything of any significant value, but some ways that you can bulk this up now. If you wanted to add something that has protein, calcium, and vitamin D, you could add a hard-boiled egg. So I'm not going to do that tonight, but if you wanted to add a hard-boiled egg to this, you certainly could. And the hard-boiled egg, remember we talked about egg yolks have vitamin D in them. So egg yolks have protein, calcium, eggs have, I feel like those eggs have protein, calcium, and vitamin D. So if you added a couple of hard-boiled eggs, you could add all three of those to this broccoli, to this hot broccoli slaw. Or you could add tofu if you wanted to add protein and calcium. And I forgot to grab it. I was going to grab it and bring it out for you. I didn't cook it yet, but if you added like some air fryer tofu or some stir fry tofu, let it cool off first and then put it in here, you could add more protein and calcium. That would not add any vitamin D, but you could add, you could add the protein and the calcium. Or if you added some salmon, and I was going to get some salmon across the street at Food City tonight, but they only had farm raised, and I wasn't wasting my money. It was like $11.99 a pound, and I thought, I'm not paying $11.99 a pound for farm raised salmon. I'll just wait and get some wild salmon if I'm going to pay that much. But I have these now. I would get the kind that don't already have flavoring in them, but I already had these here at Casey Kitchen Center, just because we keep them for lunches. But if you did something like this, like a pouched salmon, then you wouldn't have to add it to the whole thing. So what I was going to do with the salmon, and I probably still will do when I get some that's actually wild caught instead of farm raised, but the salmon would also add protein and vitamin D, because remember salmon has vitamin D also. But if you added one of these pouches, you could just do it to part of it, so you wouldn't have to put the salmon in the whole thing. But I wanted to take, so just these little pouches, they have, let me see if I can read it. It has 45%. So one of these pouches of salmon has 45% of your daily recommended value of vitamin D. 45%, so almost half of it. Salmon has to be wildly full. Wild caught salmon has to be wildly full of vitamin D. 45%, that's huge, and that's not added. So a lot of other things that have vitamin D are fortified, so like cereal, milk, things like that are fortified with vitamin D, but this has the vitamin D in it already just because it's salmon. 45%, so that's absolutely crazy. So this one would be protein and the vitamin D. Doesn't have any calcium, but the rest of this has so much calcium in it, so much calcium already, that with this would be an excellent way to combo the vitamin D and the vitamin C without having a supplement. But you could totally do that. So we have like less than 4 minutes left. So let's see if I can shred this in here just to show you what this looks like, the broccoli slaw. And then I will have to show you Tuesday, not tomorrow, because I'm taking Alyssa to the zoo tomorrow with her friend Una and my friend Karen. That's what we're going to do for our walking tomorrow on my day off, is to go to the Knoxville Zoo. Let me show you what this looks like with the bacon on here real quick. And then I will taste it for you real quick. Of course, I already know what it tastes like because we eat this all the time. Hello, Yvette. How are you? So we'll get this in here real quick. But so what do y'all think? So what would you put in this? Would you put the salmon? Would you do swordfish? Would you do sardines? Would you do canned tuna? Also has vitamin D in it. Or would you just eat this like it is and then drink it with a glass of like Fairlife fat-free milk that's fortified with vitamin D? Because you could totally do that too. And I've got some Fairlife fat-free milk over here in the refrigerator. Okay, for the sake of time and so that y'all don't have to watch me sit and shred the rest of this up, I'm going to toss this really quickly. I have one piece of the bacon left in here. So remember, this is 4 pieces of the candied bacon, and that recipe is already on IfYouHaveAnEgg.com. And then it is my hot bacon broccoli slaw recipe, which is on IfYouHaveAnEgg.com. If you need to know how to make hard-boiled eggs, you can go to, you guessed it, IfYouHaveAnEgg.com, and we have a chat for that. And yeah, Katie says salmon on the side. I'm thinking that we need to get some salmon, that John and I need to get some wild-caught salmon and have this for supper tomorrow night. I think that would be excellent. But this is what it looks like when you are all done. So, except for the vitamin D, this is a bowl chocked full of protein and calcium, beautiful colors, lots of flavor. Going to be super excited to eat this, and I think we will add some salmon to it. I think that is a great idea. So, everybody knows what they're doing for their homework, right? You're going to find something like this, a meal, and it doesn't have to be a salad. It can be whatever, but you're going to find something to do for your homework that is good in protein, good in calcium, and then if you can, find something to have. And yeah, Betty Ann is exactly right. It does taste much better the second day. The next day it's even better. Try to find something that has vitamin D. And if you can't find anything to add the vitamin D to your meal that first time, go ahead and just go safely sit like in indirect sunlight and make your own vitamin D. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Okay, so I hope you all enjoyed this. I hope you found something yummy to make. Again, it's on IfYouHaveAnEgg.com if you want to go ahead and go find these recipes for the candy bacon and for the hot bacon broccoli slaw. Dusty's just realized, hey, we've made bacon. Where's my bacon, Mom? But if you were watching this on YouTube, go ahead and let that next video roll over. If you have not subscribed yet, please do so right here. Go ahead and click the subscribe button and check that little bell so that you'll be notified every time that we have a new video. Otherwise, the rest of y'all have an awesome and amazing week, and I will see you next time. And John, do you want me to bring some of this home? Because I will. Okay, I'm super excited about this now because it smells fabulous. But y'all have a great week. Thank you again, and we will see you next time. Good night.